Most people kill their aloe vera plant without even realizing it. The truth, it usually comes down to just one or two simple mistakes. Aloe is supposed to be one of the easiest houseplants to grow, but so many beginners struggle with it. In this video, I'm going to share 7 aloe vera care tips that will keep your plant healthy and thriving indoors. And trust me, tip number 6 completely changed how I care for mine. Plus, stick around until the very end for a bonus tip that most plant owners never think about. Hey, welcome back to the channel. I've been growing aloe for years, and I've made pretty much every mistake you can imagine. So, you don't have to. Aloe vera is more than just a pretty plant. Its gel has healing properties, it helps clean the air, and it's one of the most forgiving houseplants you can own. Before we dive in, make sure you hit that subscribe button and turn on the bell so you never miss out on more simple, practical houseplant tips. And let me know in the comments, what's been your biggest aloe problem so far? Is it watering, sunlight, or something else? I'd love to hear your experience. All right, let's start with the most important factor for a healthy aloe vera, light. If you get this right, half your work is already done. Aloe needs bright, indirect sunlight to grow strong. Now, what does that mean? It's not about blasting it with harsh rays all day long, and it's not about tucking it in a dark corner either. If your aloe gets too much direct sun, especially through a hot window, the leaves can actually scorch. You'll notice brown tips or even patches that look sunburned. On the flip side, if your plant isn't getting enough light, the leaves start to stretch out, become floppy, and lose that firm, upright look that makes aloe so beautiful. So, where should you place it? The best spot indoors is near a south-facing or west-facing window. These spots usually provide the bright but gentle light aloe loves. If you don't have windows like that, no worries. You can use a simple grow light to give your plant the extra boost it needs. Even a few hours under a grow light can make a huge difference. Here's a little trick I learned the hard way. Rotate your aloe every couple of weeks. Just give the pot a quarter turn. Why? Because aloe is a bit like us. It leans toward the light. If you don't rotate it, you'll end up with a plant that looks lopsided, with all the leaves stretching to one side. Rotating keeps it balanced and evenly shaped. So remember, not too much, not too little. Bright, indirect light is the sweet spot. And here's something fun. Drop a sun in the comments if your aloe already lives in a sunny spot. I'd love to see how many of you have found your plant's happy place. Now let's talk about the #1 aloe vera killer, water. Or more specifically, the way most people water their plant. Here's the golden rule. Soak and dry. That means when you water thoroughly, letting it soak all the way through the soil until it little drains out from the bottom of the pot. Then, and this is where most people go wrong, you wait. You don't touch that watering can again until the soil has completely dried out. Aloe stores water in its leaves, so it can survive weeks without you watering. Giving it too much, too often is like drowning it in kindness.
Root rot is the biggest threat to aloe, and it usually happens when water sits in the soil for too long. You'll know something's wrong if the leaves start looking mushy, soft, or even brown at the base. By then, the roots are probably suffocating in soggy soil. So, how do you avoid this? Here's a simple test. Stick your finger about 2 inches into the soil. If it feels dry at that depth, it's time to water. If it still feels even a little damp, wait a few more days. You can also lift the pot. A dry pot feels much lighter than a wet one. This little habit can save your aloe's life. And here's a bonus tip. Always use room temperature water. Ice-cold water straight from the tap can shock the roots, especially in cooler months. Think of it like this. Would you enjoy a freezing shower first thing in the morning? Probably not, and neither does your aloe. Now, I'll share a quick story. When I first got my aloe, I thought I was doing it a favor by watering every 3 days. Within weeks, the leaves turned soft and I realized I had practically drowned the poor thing. Don't repeat my mistake. Less is more when it comes to aloe vera. So remember, water deeply, let it dry completely, then water again. Simple as that. Number 3 is all about soil, and honestly, this can make or break your aloe's health. Aloe vera is not like your average leafy houseplant. It's a succulent, which means it's designed to store water in its leaves and survive in dry conditions. So the last thing it wants is to sit in heavy, soggy soil. The best soil for aloe is a succulent or cactus mix. These mixes are specially made to drain quickly and give roots the air they need. If you've only got regular potting soil at home, don't worry, you can improve it. Just mix in perlite, pumice, or coarse sand. About 1 part additive to 2 parts potting soil works great. This helps water flow through instead of staying trapped around the roots. Here's why it matters. In compact soil, water lingers for too long, starving the roots of oxygen and setting the stage for, you guessed it, root rot. That's why you should never use garden soil indoors for aloe. Garden soil is heavy, it compacts easily, and it usually has pests or fungi you don't want in your living room. Think of it like this. The right soil is like giving your aloe the right shoes. If the shoes fit, it can grow, spread, and stay healthy. If the shoes are too tight, meaning the soil is too dense, your aloe struggles every single day. So here's a little engagement for you. Do you mix your own potting soil, or do you just buy it pre-made? Let me know in the comments. I'm curious which camp you fall into. Bottom line, go for a fast-draining succulent mix, add a bit of perlite or coarse sand if you need to, and your aloe's roots will thank you. Now let's talk about something that often gets overlooked, the pot you choose. Believe it or not, the pot is just as important as the soil when it comes to aloe care. Here's the simple truth. Terracotta or clay pots are the best choice for aloe vera. Why? Because they breathe. Clay allows moisture to evaporate faster than plastic does, which means your soil dries out at the right pace and doesn't trap extra water around the roots. Plastic pots, on the other hand, hold on to that moisture much longer, and that's a recipe for, you guessed it, root rot.
And here's a non-negotiable. Your pot must have drainage holes. If water can't escape, it will just sit there at the bottom, slowly suffocating your plant's roots. Even the best soil mix won't save you if there's no drainage. So if you find a cute pot that doesn't have holes, do yourself a favor. Either drill some in or use it only as a decorative cover around a proper nursery pot. Now, aloe also likes a pot that's a little shallow and wide. The roots don't grow super deep, but they do spread out. A shallow pot helps the plant stay stable, especially as those leaves get bigger and heavier over time. It also prevents the soil from holding more water than the plant really needs. And don't forget about repotting. Every 2 to 3 years, give your aloe a fresh start by moving it into new soil and, if needed, a slightly larger pot. This keeps the roots from getting cramped and gives the plant room to keep growing strong. If you're watching this right now, I'd love for you to see the difference. Imagine one aloe in a terracotta pot with drainage. It's upright, healthy, firm leaves. Now picture another in a glossy plastic pot with no holes. The leaves are drooping, the soil's soggy, and it's barely hanging on. Same plant, but the pot made all the difference. So here's the rule of thumb. Terracotta or clay, always with drainage, shallow instead of deep, and refresh it every few years. Get the pot right, and your aloe has the foundation it needs to thrive. All right, let's move on to tip number 5, temperature and humidity. Aloe vera is a tough plant, but like all of us, it has its comfort zone. For aloe, that sweet spot is between 55 and 85 degrees Fahrenheit, or about 13 to 29 degrees Celsius. That's the range where it really feels at home. Now, if the temperature dips too low, say below 50 degrees, your aloe starts to struggle. The leaves can get damaged, growth slows, and if it's exposed to frost, the plant can actually die. That's why if you keep your aloe outdoors during the warmer months, you need to bring it inside well before the first frost hits. I learned this the hard way one fall when I thought I could sneak in just one more week outdoors. Let's just say my aloe wasn't too happy with me. On the other side of the spectrum, don't put your aloe right next to heating vents, radiators, or drafty windows in the winter. The sudden blasts of hot or cold air stress the plant out, causing the leaves to dry out or even scorch at the tips. Now let's talk humidity. The good news? Aloe doesn't demand much. It's perfectly happy in the average home environment. What you do want to avoid are rooms that stay overly damp, like a bathroom with poor ventilation. Too much constant moisture in the air can encourage fungal problems or slow down how quickly the soil dries. So here's the bonus tip. If you live somewhere with cold winters, treat your aloe like a guest. Let it enjoy the fresh air and sunshine outdoors in the warmer months, but bring it inside before temperatures start dropping near freezing. Think of it as sending your aloe on a summer vacation, then welcoming it back home when the weather turns. Quick question for you. Anyone else guilty of leaving their plants outside a little too late in fall? I know I did once. Drop a fall leaf in the comments if that's ever happened to you.
Tip number 6 is all about fertilizer. And honestly, this is the one that took my aloe from simply surviving to absolutely thriving. Here's the thing, aloe vera doesn't need a ton of food. In fact, too much fertilizer can actually do more harm than good, causing weak, leggy growth. What it really wants is just a little boost at the right time of year. The best schedule? Twice a year, once in spring and once in summer. That's it. Think of it like giving your plant 2 good meals when it's naturally in its growing season. When you do fertilize, make sure to use a succulent or cactus fertilizer at half strength. Full strength is too strong for aloe and can burn the roots. Diluting it is like serving your plant a gentle, balanced meal instead of overwhelming it with junk food. And here's an important point. Never fertilize in fall or winter. During these months, aloe goes into a resting phase. It slows down, it's not actively growing, and adding fertilizer is like offering a big plate of food to someone who's already full. It just doesn't help, and it can actually stress the plant. Now for the bonus tip. If you prefer more natural options, aloe responds really well to compost tea or diluted worm castings. These provide gentle nutrients without the risk of chemical buildup. Plus, they improve the soil's health, which in turn makes your plant stronger over time. This is the tip that truly changed my plant. Once I stopped overfeeding and switched to this light twice-a-year schedule, my aloe's leaves got firmer, greener, and a whole lot happier. So remember, feed lightly, feed smart, and only when the plant's in its active season. All right, tip number 7 is all about spotting problems early. If you learn to read your aloe signals, you can fix issues before they get out of hand. Let's start with wrinkled leaves. If you notice your aloe's leaves starting to look thin, bent, or wrinkly, that usually means underwatering. Aloe stores water in its leaves, so when those reserves run low, the plant shows it by shrinking and wrinkling. The fix? A good, thorough soak using the soak and dry method we talked about earlier. Within a week or two, you'll often see the leaves plump back up. Now, what about mushy or brown leaves? That's a big red flag for overwatering. When the roots sit in wet soil too long, they start to rot, and that damage creeps up into the leaves. They'll feel soft, sometimes even slimy at the base. If you catch this early, you can usually save the plant by cutting away the damaged leaves and repotting it in fresh, dry soil. Another common issue is leaves turning red or brown. That's usually a sign of too much direct sunlight. Remember, aloe loves bright light, but if it's getting blasted by harsh afternoon rays, especially through glass, the leaves can literally sunburn. You'll see discoloration, often starting at the edges. If that happens, move it to a spot with bright but filtered light, and it should recover. Here's a bonus tip. If you do have damaged leaves, whether from watering mistakes, sunburn, or anything else, trim them off. It may feel harsh, but removing the unhealthy parts helps the plant focus its energy on new healthy growth instead of trying to heal what's already gone. And here's where I'd love your help. What's the strangest aloe issue you've seen? Drop it in the comments below. I might feature your story in a future video. I guarantee every plant owner has at least one aloe drama to share. All right, let's do a quick recap of everything we've covered because these 7 tips really are the foundation of keeping your aloe vera thriving.
Tip 1. Light is everything. Give it bright, indirect sunlight. Tip 2. Water the right way. Soak and dry, don't drown it. Tip 3. Use the right soil mix. Fast draining, never heavy garden soil. Tip 4. Choose the right pot. Terracotta or clay with drainage holes. Tip 5. Keep it in its comfort zone, between 55 and 85 degrees and away from heating vents or drafts. Tip 6. Fertilize smartly. just twice a year at half strength, spring and summer only. And tip 7, spot problems early. Wrinkles mean thirsty, mushy leaves mean overwatered, and red or brown leaves mean too much sun. And don't forget that bonus tip. Always trim off damaged leaves so your aloe puts its energy into fresh, healthy growth. If you noticed, a lot of the mistakes people make, like watering too often, using the wrong soil, or forgetting to bring their aloe inside before frost, are all easy to avoid once you know what to look for. That's the beauty of aloe vera. Once you understand its simple needs, it really does become almost impossible to kill. So let me ask you, did you learn something new today that you're going to try with your aloe? If you did, go ahead and hit that like button. It not only helps this video reach more plant lovers, but it also lets me know to keep making content just like this for you. And that's it. 7 simple but powerful aloe vera care tips that will keep your plant looking strong, healthy, and full of life. Remember, aloe is one of the easiest plants you can own once you know its rhythm, and if you follow these steps, yours can thrive for years. Thank you so much for spending this time with me. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and turn on the bell so you never miss future plant care videos. I post practical, easy-to-follow tips to help you grow happier, healthier plant houses without the stress. Once again, I appreciate you watching, and I'd love to hear your aloe stories in the comments. Until next time, happy planting, and may your aloe always stay green, plump, and full of life.